Oh my goodness. Okay, we're here. Hello, my beautiful crew, every beautiful soul who's joining me. Welcome to my channel for the very first time ever. I cannot say welcome to my channel or welcome back because this is the first video I've ever videoed. So hello, so nice to meet you here in my hands, and I'm the little reader. Thank you so much for joining me today on my little table, which is obviously a work in prog. Before we get started or get too far into anything, I want to say a huge shout out to Kino Tarot and Aso Tarot, because they are the, I would say single-handed, but I guess it's more accurate to say double-handed inspirations for this channel. Quick story time if you're willing to bear with me. I have been going through life as a human and have turned to their channels through complete chance and through complete good fortune, if you believe in chance or good fortune or coincidence. Their channels were recommended to me on YouTube, being that I am a tarot reader and have been a reader for over 10 years, but I never, ever knew that such things existed as pick-a-card readings. So after falling deep into the hole, I realized I have got to be part of this world. So I'm the little reader, and I'm here to help flush out and fill in any gaps where I can offer my own essence into this beautiful world that these two magical beings have helped to pave the way for. And I know there are so many other amazing readers on YouTube. Kino and Aso are the two that I'm familiar with, but I have seen so many others, and I hope to incorporate their decks and their styles and their inspiration and always reference their videos if I can. So thanks so much for listening to my origin story and for joining the fam. Today we've got some of our beautiful ancestors here saying prayers for and with us. So let me break down what we're doing today. Today we've got three crews. We've got our Moonstone Crew, we've got our Bloodstone Crew, and we've got our Mookaite Crew. So we have them in these beautiful little eggs, and your mission, my beautiful soul, is to decide which one aligns with you. So at your leisure, go ahead and choose which deck you feel aligns with you, and let me get the names so I can read them all out for you. Is it going to be the Tarot of the She? Or is it going to be the Chrysalis Tarot? Or is it going to be the Radiant Rider-Waite? This is up to you to decide. So you probably know the rules, but if you're new to this, let me break it down. You can't make a wrong choice. You will choose what your energy is naturally attracted to. But if you start to listen to the reading and you feel like you don't know how it applies to you, or it's not resonating, something about it just doesn't feel right, it may be that you're more aligned with another pile. So you can absolutely go back to whichever crew you felt you're more aligned with. And then if you listen to all three and you feel, oh, this really just isn't for me today, that's absolutely possible. It might not be for you today. It could be for you in the future, or it could have been for a past you, or it could be for you in another form, meaning one of the millions of humans with us on this earth. So now that we've clarified that, let's go ahead and take a moment to pick your pile. Moonstone, Bloodstone, Mookaite. Okay. Oops. Before I take Mookaite out of the equation, I just realized I need to say something. So let me explain what we're doing today. Today is the story of you, this moment, and what's coming, and inspirations from the past, where you've been, where you're headed. We're going to start out with what archetype you are now. Then we're going to talk about what your greatest obstacle is right now. Then we're going to talk about what your greatest blessing or gift is right now. Then we'll look at the tarot deck that's associated with your energy, whichever crew you are part of today. And then we're going to look into the future, and we'll see what archetype you're becoming and what advice your guides have for you about how to proceed. We might do some channeling. Honestly, I'm really going to let it flow because first time, man. So let's just see where it goes. Thank you for being part of the journey. So, welcome, Moonstone Crew. I absolutely love Moonstone, and this is a beautiful rainbow moonstone. So we're gonna set this rainbow moonstone off to the side, Moonstone Crew, and we're gonna get started and see what's going on in here. So I haven't looked. I don't know what the truths are that are going to be revealed today, but you and I will look together. So, starting out with who you are right now, we have the fault line. Looking at your obstacle right now, we have expansion in the throat chakra. And looking at your greatest strength right now, we have the Hermit. Oh my goodness. Okay, powerful transformation time. So let's start with who you are right now, the archetype of the fault line. So the fault line, if you live in California like I do, you already have a deep knowledge of fault lines. San Andreas faults to start. And it's kind of similar to the Tower card in that it has to do with a breaking, a cracking, and a reformation. If you know what an earthquake is doing, it's relieving pressure and it's relieving tension and it's relieving stress from inside of the earth. So the many layers of the earth are essentially reconnecting, coming back together every time there's an earthquake. And when a fault line occurs, it's an area of tension where there can be a lot of movement and there can be a lot of tension released. So this archetype and this card speaks to like a pulling apart, a tearing apart due to the, and we're losing a candle here, but that's okay. He was struggling a little bit to start. It's okay, little guy, we love you. But the fault line speaks to being torn apart, pulled apart, in an area of high tension. So we want to understand right now, as I channel your energy, Moonstone Crew, what I'm feeling is being pulled in two directions. What I'm feeling is an inner split. What I'm feeling right now is paving the way for all kinds of new potentiality, all kinds of new gifts, probably some kind of ascension from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. And it's all happening inside of you. But as we know, what's within is also without, right? So if it's happening inside of you, it's also happening outside of you. It just be like that sometimes. So with the fault line card, we know that this is a time of potentially inner turmoil. I'm seeing a lot of tension in the heart chakra, honestly. It feels like you may be torn between two decisions, career decisions, possibly two people. It feels like there may be a split in your consciousness. So one day you feel one way. The next morning you wake up and you feel a totally different way. You're like, am I two different people? Am I possibly struggling with some kind of disorder? Is a question that I'm hearing some of you have asked yourself. Is this psychiatric? Is it psychedelic? Does it have to do with, like I said before, third and fifth dimension? Like, what is this tear? But what it also represents is a tearing of the veil of what we see in the physical, dense dimension that we're a part of, and what's going on in the non-physical dimension. So if you're familiar at all with the Bible, the Holy Bible, and with Catholicism or Christianity, we also know that when Jesus died in the Bible, there was a tearing of a veil that was supposed to symbolize heaven and earth, the division between the two being split, and some kind of co-joining happening as Jesus, the archetype or the person or whatever you believe or feel or know, transcended death. So a lot going on here with you, my beautiful Moonstone Crew. I'm so glad you're here right now. I'm so glad you're hanging in. And here's what I can see based off of your biggest obstacle right now: expansion. So this card speaks to the opportunity to become more than we are. Now, I'm big time into meditating. I'm a huge meditator. I try to get in an hour a day, and I use an app called Insight Timer. I highly recommend this app if you're interested in meditation. It's a game changer. something super cool about it is it has a quote every day. And the quote for today was actually, I give up what I am to become what I can be. And that is what's coming to my heart as I look at this. There's another thing too, is that this is a throat chakra. So when we're looking at the throat chakra, we're looking at speaking your truth. We're looking not at just telling it like it is and letting the people know, but we're also looking at, what do I want? Who am I? What are my desires? What do I bring to the table? How can I articulate that? How can I communicate what's inside of me? So again, we have a split here. And this isn't going to hold for very much longer because the universe demands evolution and it demands expansion. So your greatest strength at this moment in time is the Hermit card. Now the Hermit card, Major Arcana card, which lets us know this is an energy that's sticky. It's going to be around for a while, and it's powerful because it represents you could say major moment in your life, a major spiritual evolution, a major upgrade, a major learning, a major lesson, a major karma, something big. So here's what I'm seeing, Moonstone Crew. You want to be around people. You want to be around your people. Who doesn't? You want to share, you want to speak your truth, you want to know what that is. But sometimes when you try to do that, you feel like you're getting slapped in the face by the universe. You set down some ground rules, then they get disrupted, or they no longer feel true anymore, or something comes that totally upends your world. You're growing and it hurts, but it hurts so good. Here's what the universe is asking you to do, my Moonstone Crew. The universe is asking you to go within. We want to go hermit mode right now. Your greatest strength, whether you're already in hermit mode as of this moment, or you've had the inkling that it's time to go there, it means setting boundaries. It means staying in sometimes. It means getting in touch with your inner world. It means possibly picking up some meditation. It means seeking yourself and your inner wisdom and not looking for it in the outside, finding it within, and then knowing that once it's cultivated within, it's going to shine on the outside. So let's take a look at your tarot. We're going to be using the Tarot of the She today, and let's see a little bit more about your story and now where you're going, because we have a feel for where you are, but we want to see what's it all leading to. What does it really mean to be part of the Moonstone Crew, and where is it taking you? I'm going to try and relight this little guy. Oh, look at that. Look at that. And just so you know, we're going to be doing a prayer for every group. So whether you believe in prayer or not, you don't have to think of it as the word prayer or as a religious ritual. Instead, think of it as a powerful intention that transcends space and time and touches you exactly where you are right now. It's for you. It's for my Moonstone Crew. And it's going to touch you today. Okay. So we've got the Tarot of the She here. Because this bad boy is not super reversible, it's pretty obvious when these guys are in reverse because the top is not meant to be flipped. We're going to keep them upright. But believe me when I say the story is going to be told the way the story wants to be told. And we're going to hear it. So how are you doing, Moonstone Crew? Can I encourage you to get on a regular sleep schedule? That's something that's coming through. Physical health. The fault line has to do with the body. The earth is kind of symbolic of the body. Our bodies are a piece of the earth that we carry around with us. And when we begin to have physical strain, we begin to crack. And I don't want you cracking, Moonstone Crew. I want you thriving. Wow. You know you deserve to thrive? Has anyone told you that today? You deserve to thrive. Okay. Let's do one more trad shuffle. I don't think I can bridge it with this baby. Okay. So everyone take a deep breath where you are. Whoops. And get excited because your guides are talkative today. All right. Where's my Moonstone Crew? Where are they from? Where are they now? Where are they going? It's kind of a tight squeeze. I'm still getting this framing right, so we might have some overlap. Do bear with me here. Oh, we have the tower for where we've been. What in the world? We have the tower, we have the fault line, like, let's see if we're getting that. Are we getting that? Fault line, tower. Okay, enough said. Ooh, Maker Princess, gift of creativity. Oh, where are we now? Oh, my major arcana. Oh, my major arcana. Okay, are you human? Are you human, my Moonstone Crew? Or are you divine beings in human body? Because I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. And I don't know about you, but you're transcending, you're growing, you're expanding at such a rate. I see why expansion was your obstacle card. Because if we look at this, and let's just, as my girl Julie Andrews would say, and she's been on my mind a lot today, because she is the narrator of Bridgerton, but she's also Maria von Trapp from The Sound of Music. If we start at the very beginning, a Sound of Music reference, we're going to see that where you've been is kind of, the first thing I want to say is I'm giving you the biggest hug, because what I see is a tender soul with an imaginative, hopeful worldview. I'm thinking that you might be an introvert. I'm thinking that you're someone who's got a great deal of creative energy, and there was a time when you thought that with that creativity you could do absolutely anything. And then something happened that either crushed you, and it might have been COVID. I'm hearing the pandemic might have been a part of it. There may have been opportunities that were coming that dwindled and fell down and fell apart. There may have been dreams that were starting that kind of got stymied. Whatever it was, whether it was the pandemic or whether it was a personal, familial related tragedy, death potentially, the loss of someone near and dear to you can be extremely difficult on our creativity. Grief can be crushing to our creativity. So although this character that we see in the Tarot of the She is coming to this enormous rebirth, I'm sorry, I don't know if you can see that, coming to this enormous rebirth and breaking out of something, the Tower does speak to pain, and it speaks to grief because it has to do with loss. So I think what might have sustained you throughout these times in your life, and I'm seeing isolation, I'm seeing sadness, I'm seeing loneliness, is imagination and creativity. And whether you feel like you've lost that and haven't gotten it back yet, or whether you have been getting it back and feeling strongly that you are not only recapturing who you are, but evolving into your next self, I'm giving you love. What I can see now is that you haven't stopped dreaming. Not only have you not stopped dreaming, you have been made greater by the obstacles that were placed in your past previously, whether it was a death, for which you have my deepest condolences, of a family member, an animal, a neighbor, a friend, or just the death of yourself. I'm seeing that this hasn't stopped you from dreaming. And there is either an opportunity that's coming to you now, or the opportunity is within you as your own spirit rising, that you are either, maybe you're not hopeful about it. I feel like the throat chakra is coming up for me here. We saw this in your expansion card. I feel like there is some kind of hesitation toward speaking up and saying, yes, I want this job. Yes, I want this opportunity. Yes, I want this. It's a flame. We have this star here. And in the tarot of the she holds this single flame. And I relit this flame here just a little while ago, and it's lit. It's holding on. This little guy's on fire, literally. So your hope is there, but you need to speak, Moonstone Crew. You need to open your mouth and say, I want what I want, so that you can get the justice that's owed to you. Because this is a pivotal moment in time. It's requiring you to be all kinds of flexible. You are at the intersection of infinity, the middle dot, I like to call it, right here, where you've got your chaos and your order, you've got your yin and your yang, you've got the universe in front of you, and you're holding balance in that middle dot. But sometimes you have to be okay with disrupting the balance, my Moonstone Crew. And sometimes that means opening your mouth and saying, I know what I want. So this is where you are currently. Now, things are going to move very quickly for you here, and judgment is going to be passed. And I don't get the sense that this is directly your judgment, although you do seem to be very hard on yourself. So take a deep breath in. Let it go. And accept that you are worthy of love. Remember, above all things, you are worthy of love. So when judgment is passed, which is you're getting through this moment of making a decision, of holding on to your dream, and of speaking your truth, things are going to move very quickly. And you will be victorious in this if you can speak your truth, Moonstone Crew. Speak your truth. Now, do you know what it means to speak your truth? It's not always so simple as grabbing someone by the collar and pulling them in and saying, hey, this is how I feel and this is what I want. Sometimes it's a little more complex. Sometimes it means realizing your truth for yourself. But I see that in this beautiful judgment card of the Tarot of the She, our girl is breathing out a mighty wind of justice, and she's leveling plains. Now, I'm seeing mountains here, and I'm seeing a fault line here. So it's, once again, it's all connected. When you say what you need to say, and you let yourself expand the way that your spirit is calling you to expand right now, it may level some mountains. But guess what? That's only going to make your travels and your journey more direct. And I don't know about you. Oh, here we go again. But I'm feeling 22. Taylor, what you doing? I don't know about you, but the Chariot. This one happens to fly, which is extremely convenient. That means you can soar over the mountains if you need to. But if it were me on a chariot, and I'm thinking Ben-Hur reference here for my friends who know of the film Ben-Hur, I would want to be on the flatlands, not in the mountains, for the type of energy that's about to come. So let's get some more clarity and see who you're becoming, and then get some advice for you, my Moonstone Crew. Don't mind me as I adjust my seat. I'm still getting this together. Oops. And I'd love to know your thoughts. So my Moonstones, let me know in the comments or direct. What did you like? What did you love? What would you like to see more? What would you like to see less? Because how you feel is incredibly important to me. How you feel in your heart, to be uber specific. My sleeve is coming down. It's a little cold in California right now. So how do you feel? Can we get in touch with that? Can you also tell me, like, can that be your assignment as you are getting in touch with your throat chakra and thinking of truth and alignment and all that is real and all that is legitimate for you? How you'd like to see the world? How about you comment that for me too? Because this is your story we're telling, and I want to hear it. Okay, so What is my moonstone becoming? Oh. One more shuffle, so we can get to the root of it. What is my moonstone becoming? The desert. The mother. Ooh, and the unseen. Okay. So, the desert speaks to a journey through a period of time that may be lonely. It may be desolate. It may feel like you're reaching out for some kind of sustenance, some kind of love, some kind of support, and you can't get it. But it also speaks to the temporariness of this situation. So if you are feeling like you're in the desert or you're coming up on this drought, and this drought is one where the ocean is not present with us, and the ocean represents emotion. I love to say an ocean of emotion. And for whatever reason, I'm thinking of this rainbow moonstone as a type of desert magic. If you've ever been in the desert at night, or like me, you live in the desert, hello Cali, Southern Cali specifically. The desert at night, when it's desolate, is full of secrets, it's full of magic, it's full of inspiration. If you're a believer of extraterrestrials, it's a good place for some encounters. So while you may not have human people around you who can empathize with you, who can understand what you're going through, who can hold you, who can support your emotions, you're going to be having to do that all yourself. And I'm seeing here, you may feel like a mess of emotions right now. So the good news is the desert is going to whip away some of the confusion of the chaotic turmoil in your heart, some of the uncertainties that you've had, like, oh, do I want this? Do I want that? Do I feel good this day? Do I feel bad this day? I don't know who I am. Like, the drowning that you might be feeling is going to evaporate in the hot sun of the desert, although I do see the moon here. I'm kind of going to interpret that as a post-apocalyptic sun that's missing part of it, because the energy I'm feeling is screaming heat and sun and a fireball. When you get here, yeah, it might be lonely for a while, but guess what? It's not going to be anywhere near as lonely as you have been, because there's going to be more peace, less turmoil, more silence to hear. This is your hermit mode right here. And check it out. What happens in the desert? Earthquakes. So, at least my desert. So, you're going to feel the shaking. You're going to feel the transformation. You may even physically feel the shaking as DNA is activating and you're coming alive and you're realizing, oh my gosh, I want to be a writer. I want to be a creator. You are the creatrix. I saw it here. You have the gift of creativity, and we didn't touch on this enough, but you are ready to explore. You're ready to climb the peaks. I see more mountains here. Now, if you're ready to climb the peaks and you're in the flat old desert, that means you're taking a temporary siesta before you go on to the next big thing. You need this siesta. It's not time to climb another peak right now. It's time to go inside. So you're becoming the desert, but for an incredible reason, to become the mother. Now, for those of you who identify as mothers already, who either have children or fur babies or plants or whatever you mother, congratulations and thank you, because this is such a beautiful, beautiful archetype to be a part of. I also see that so many of you are going to get back on your creative train for the first time in a long time, and it is going to be the sweet, sweet nectar to your desert. And yes, you may do it alone, and yes, you may feel afraid, and yes, you may be unsure, but you're going to be getting back in touch with something that you either haven't touched in a long time or hasn't felt life-giving and life-affirming to you in a long time. So as you go back to this gift of creativity, you see here that she is being represented by a pregnant alien. Well, the she are technically like a fairy race, but technicalities aside, the mother, it could be the mother of a project, it could be the mother of an idea, it could be the mother of your own emotions, of your own self. Reparenting could be a huge thing right now. And then, and I'd also like to point out, this is number 1. It's the very first card in this deck. So that's something, because this is an incredible deck with a multitude of archetypes, and the mother is heralded as the very first. So this is going back to something fundamental, something powerful, something beautiful. Wow. And then we have the unseen. Here's an interesting thing. I was doing a reading for my mother yesterday, and not only was the mother card in her reading as something she's been, but the unseen was something she's becoming. So what is there to even say here except my mother might be part of the Moonstone Crew, which means, Moonstone Crew, you are ineffably incredible. If you're anything like my mother, you are about to. So with the unseen is all about someone who's working behind the scenes. No pun intended. Scene. English is confusing. The unseen, and I'm sorry, I've been holding my breath a lot during this first reading. I don't know if it's because I'm talking at the speed of light, which I tend to do when I'm in this zone, or because you talk at the speed of light. And I guess I'm going to figure that out in the next pile. But one thing you and I both need to do, Moonstone Crew, is chill and breathe. So let's just do that again real quick. Thank you. So, the unseen talks about people who are working behind the scenes. People who may have at one time been in the spotlight, or been accustomed to the spotlight, or been accustomed to running the show. The mother card is all about mothering, obviously, nurturing, but it also speaks to a sort of being the center of the narrative. And we see this a lot here. Everything stems from the mother, so it's natural and common for the mother to take a little bit of a control position. She both creates, but she can cling. And what the unseen does is let go. Not only does the unseen not cling, the unseen can't cling because it has no name, and it has no title, and it has no recognition. Its name is not on the credits roll. Now, as a creator myself, a musician, a poet, a writer, I can't even say it out loud. The idea of not being credited for my work makes me want to stick my head in a wall and leave it there for a very long time, because my work is a part of me. So to let it go out there in the world and not get the cred, that's roughums. That's roughums. But that is what the unseen asks us to do, is to let go of the cred and to be the force that works behind the scenes and just lets it happen. And it lets our babies go. It lets our, oh my goodness, now I'm getting a Moses reference. Have you guys seen Moses? This is Charlton Heston evening. So Ben-Hur is Charlton Heston. Moses is Charlton Heston. And we also went biblical, which is something I never do. We went biblical in this pile. So my Moonstone Crew, I'm getting biblical vibes from you, and I am applauding you for it, because I love some powerful beliefs, and as long as we're not clinging, some deeply seated reverence in the soul. It's a beautiful thing. Anyway, let my people go is coming to me. It's a Moses reference. And I believe that's what Moses was saying to the Pharaoh. Let my people go, homie. The unseen is asking the mother to let go. Let go of the children, let go of the projects, let go of the control. You're going to be in the desert until this gets sorted out. But when you get to the unseen, when you get to this point, you're going to know why you had to create and let go. You're going to know why you had to roam as the hermit in the dark for a time, in the darkness of yourself. You're going to know, because another thing that the unseen does is it taps into the other side. And as I said with the fault line, this is the veil thinning. This is a crack in who you've been. This is a crack in the old story. This is a crack in the defense. This is a crack in the armor. And when this shifts and everything comes back into balance, you're not going to be as solid as you thought you were one time. You're going to be more than solid. You're going to be fluid. You're going to be ether. You're going to be dark matter. You're going to have gone through such a transition and into such a power that you're going to look back on yourself and you're going to say, oh, they were so cute. I love them so much. And I love you so much, Moonstone Crew. So let's close out with your advice. And then let's say a prayer for you. Prayer. So we're going to go to the magical mermaids and dolphins for advice from your spirit. Now, if I am truly in this conversation with you, Moonstone Crew, and you are religious and you're not into spirit guides, I invite you to consider spirit guides to be, if you prefer, the Holy Spirit, if you prefer the angels, if you prefer God, their self, depending on how you choose to gender God, or if you do at all. So there are a lot of different ways to look at this, but if you're already on a tarot reading, looking at a selected card tarot reading, you probably know more about this than I'm giving you credit for. So forgive me if I am preaching to the choir. Another biblical reference. Wow. I'm just flowing. So Spirit, let's get some insights. What advice do you have for the Moonstone Crew? Also, another thing for you, Moonstone Crew, consider meditating with some Moonstone. I don't call you Moonstone Crew for nothing. The energy of the Moonstone gives me huge desert vibes, interestingly. Okay. Here we go. Oh, we're not even going to shuffle that. Oh, okay. Okay. We aren't even going to hand shuffle that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let go of old guilt and remember that you are God's perfect child. God's perfect child. Okay, so you're taking me to church, Moonstone Crew. That's where we're going. Friendship. Make a date for a play day with one or more friends. Yeah, if you're walking through the desert, you're going through a hermit period, but perhaps, yes, it's working for you. Yes, it's a blessing for you, but you don't have to be alone. There are people in your life that you can call out or call on. Not call out, ideally. I don't think we want to condemn or get on a high horse with anybody, but you can call on some people and let them know that you'd like to see them if they'd like to see you. It's all good in the hood. And now I'm like making a crucifix with my hand. Get it? Make a wish. This is a magical moment. Make a wish and enjoy its manifestation. Okay. And a new dawn. The worst is behind you and positive new experiences are on the horizon. Oh, and Moonstone Crew, I just felt your heart expand like, thank God is what I heard. Thank God that good things are on the horizon. Why? Because you deserve them, Moonstone. And, you know, deserve is tricky. People get triggered by the word deserve. But my job here as a little reader is to let you know that above all, you deserve love. Above all, please remember that you deserve love. You deserve it. You're born into it. It is your birthright. So, random tangent, but what you deserve is not to be punished. It's not to be wounded. It's not to gum after yourself forever because you did something that you feel ashamed of, or because life has been so rough recently, or for such a long time. I'm hearing as long as 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. I'm hearing right now, but I've already been in the desert. I've already been in the desert. Well, guess what? You're coming out of the desert. And there's a reason why we chose the magical mermaids and dolphins, because I see water, I see water, I see water, I see water. And in this new dawn, she's in water. So you're in your desert era, yes, but you're going to come out of it. You're going to come out of your desert era, and you're going to dip into your motherhood and your creatrix vibes. Irrespective of your gender, how you identify, you can be a creatrix, creator. And then you're going to go into the unseen, which transcends the elements. It combines and transcends. If you can see this, if camera quality is good enough, you've got many particles here. You can be anything that you want to be. So, it's time to forgive ourselves, Moonstone. It's time to call on our friends, because I know you have them. And if you don't think you do, please turn to somebody and say, who's a friend of mine? Anyone. Turn to a family member, turn to a coworker or a classmate and say, who's a friend of mine? Like say it to some rando, because a random person might be able to point out a friend of yours better than you can even identify a friend of yours right now, because you have been on your own alone for so long. Or maybe you have a ton of fair weather friends. I'm hearing that you could also have other people in your life around you at any given time, but you don't allow yourself to connect deeply to them. It's all very superficial terms, and it's time for that to end. Making a wish, I'm getting a sense, I can already hear wishes for love, wishes for community. Guess what? You deserve it. Whatever you're wishing for, you deserve, as long as it's a wish that it embodies love and love for all beings. So a wish that also brings kindness and harmony to everyone involved in that wish. And once again, a new dawn. I want you to know, Moonstone Crew, it only goes up from here. So let's light an incense stick for you. I'm going to let it burn next to me. Let's say your prayer. Now, I know people have all kinds of feelings about lighters and incense. We're using this lighter with respect, and we're burning this incense with respect. And that's all that matters to me. And I hope you can get behind that. So, oh yeah, breathing. Don't forget to breathe. Spirit, divinity, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, if that's what you're into. Intelligence that runs this universe, that which created us. I say a prayer now for my Moonstone Crew, to give them the strength to carry on, to remind them that above all, they deserve love, to guide them through the desert with inspiration, to reawaken creativity that may have been let go long ago, but is meant to be revived, meant to be nourished and nurtured, and then set free into the world so that you can take it over. And then that they become the unseen, but become fulfilled in that role, where they don't need to have their name on everything, and there doesn't need to be a whole lot of recognition because they already recognize themselves. This is my prayer for the Moonstone Crew. We're lighting this one for you, Moonstone Crew, and I'm sending you all the love I've got. You deserve it and so much more. Above all, you deserve love. So that's where I'm leaving you today, Moonstone Crew. Go meditate with some moonstone. I'm putting this little guy in here where it's going to burn for the next few readings. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like if you liked this video, if it meant something to you. Please comment and share with me your story, how this resonated, and encouragement for our other moonstones. And remember, you always have a community and a family here in this space. I'm sending you all the love I got. Mwah. Bye. Hello, my Bloodstone Crew with the Chrysalis Tarot. If you picked this Bloodstone pile, then that means that this is your energy today. So you will heretofore be referred to as the Bloodstone Crew. And what we're going to do today, if you skipped through the intro, which is totally fine, by the way, I'm pretty sure I do that too when I'm looking at readings. In fact, I'm hard-pressed to think of many intros that I have made it through. So if you did, you're forgiven, 110,000%. I'm going to explain it to you real quick. What we're going to do is look at the story of you, as you probably guessed by the title. And we're going to go through where you are right now. We're going to look at your greatest obstacle and your greatest gift in the Chrysalis Tarot. Then we're going to look a little bit more through the Chrysalis Tarot at where you've been, where you are, and where you're going, and get advice from your guides about how to proceed. So here is your beautiful Bloodstone Crew. If you know anything about Bloodstone, and I didn't do this with my Moonstone Crew, so I don't want to treat anyone in a different way, but I also want to be open to spontaneity and doing what I channel and what flows to me. And I'm getting called to say that I'm feeling incredibly grounded by this Bloodstone egg right now. Bloodstone is, and I'm noticing there's a really orthodox religious theme to this reading. Don't let that scare you if you're not orthodox religious. There is a multitude of light energy and positivity in Orthodox religion. It just tends to be obscured sometimes by the immensely powerful shadow side. But Grounded, bloodstone. It has references back to the blood of Jesus being spilled on the rock, as well as the blood of, I believe, some Greek gods. There are many stories behind this one. But I'm getting grounded vibes immediately from your energy, Bloodstone Crew. So thank you for that. I'm excited to see what's under here because I have no idea. So starting with the archetype of where you are right now. And this is, I believe it's called the Archetypes deck. It is by Kim Krans. Yes. A badass in every sense of the word. Oh, we're going to have to read this one, Kairos, because I'm not familiar with this, but I'm already getting chills just by looking at it. Okay. Obstacle that you're currently facing right now. So this is something that's running up. You're either running up against it or it's running up against you. Guilt. Oh, my Bloodstone Crew. Let me give you a hug. Come here. Hugs. And your greatest strength right now is the Two of Spirals. Spirals is considered the Wands archetype, which is considered, or energy, I should say, which is considered the fire element of the elements. I mean, just going back to standard tarot, we would call this Wands. So spirals. So let's look at Kairos to start. This is the archetype that you currently are. Stand by, book fetching in progress. I know this is at the back of the book because it is called The Initiations. It is part of the Initiations, and I don't want to light this book on fire because it's a great book, although that would be extremely amusing for both of us, I think. Okay, here it is. Ooh, I'm going to read it to you. If you want to screenshot it, you've got a moment to do that. So, Kairos is mythic time and synchronicity. We have all had the experience of timelessness, of life beyond the ticking of the clock. It may be felt as time standing still, slow motion, or losing track of time on a walk or in a lovely conversation. This is known as mythic time. That's what's happening right now. And it is the territory of Kairos. This card suggests there is a secondary time continuum that goes beyond any earthly clocks and schedules. Within this nonlinear realm, we access divine timing. A single moment ripens with auspiciousness, and our actions change the trajectory of our whole life. Time becomes a living thing that watches over us and tells us precisely when to act or speak. When this card appears, it is all about patience and precision. No clock can guide you. Wait for the rush of inner knowing and not a moment longer. I almost said a minute longer, but I guess that would be traditional time, so wasn't allowed to say that one. When light, this is alignment, ease, indecisions, and action. So I would call this flow when light. And when dark, it's fighting against time. This is the first time I've ever gotten this card, Bloodstone Pile. So, wow. Let's take a look to examine the imagery or I wasn't even allowed to say moment this time. Let's take a look to examine the imagery here. And I'm feeling a little bit like choked up in my throat chakra. So I'm thinking, ooh, and I'm also thinking instead of feeling. Whereas for my Moonstone pile, if you were just there, welcome Moonstones, I was feeling everything. For my Bloodstones, I'm thinking. So I'm thinking, and I might be overanalyzing a little bit. So I'm getting the sense that for you, my beautiful Bloodstones, there is a sort of a stoppage in allowing ourselves to make decisions that aren't extremely well thought out and that we can articulate. So if you're familiar with the tarot, I would call this like a 9 or 10 of Swords energy that I'm getting overall. If you're not familiar with the tarot, I would break it down as a little bit of overthinking, a little bit of stress, excuse me, let's throw away a little bit. A deep amount of analytic nature, tightness. I feel like a ball of yarn that's been wound really tight, and like my chest is all wacky. And of course, when it comes to guilt, the chest is always going to be wacky. Now, in this beautiful deck, name of which escapes me, was the first deck I think I was gifted, or no, I gifted to myself, the Chakra Wisdom Oracle by Tori Hartman. Interestingly, Tori chose to put guilt in the, well, not the solar plexus, the sacral chakra. Now, that's an interesting choice because when I feel guilt, I feel it in the heart center. And I feel it as a disconnect from my heart, like the inability to access the heart. So although she's chosen sacral chakra, and we're going to back that up, and I'm with you completely, Tori, on this choice, because it can absolutely impede our creativity, I also believe that creativity comes from the heart as well. So I'm going to add a layer onto this that doesn't exist in the cards, but it's coming from the channeling, which is that this overthinking and analytic mind is trying to escape from a heart that is overwhelmed with guilt, or B, unable. We've tapped into the analytic mind and into overthinking and overspeaking and talking ourselves around in circles because I can't even speak. I can't even touch it. I can't even touch my heart. Oh, Bloodstone. Hugs. Hugs. You deserve all the love. Just a friendly reminder, above all, you deserve love. Whatever the guilt is here for, I want to just lift that off of you real quick. Take a deep breath in with me. And let it go. Another cycle. And let's try to touch that heart. Oh, it's coming. And here's what it is. I feel so guilty because I don't do enough. And I'm not enough. And I don't know if I'm making the right choices. And I don't know if I'm doing the right things. I don't know if I'm taking the right steps. And I can't do it all. And I'm trying to do it all. I'm trying to get where I'm going, but I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. Like, I mean, maybe I know the rules and I know like what I'm supposed to do, but something's just off and I can't identify what that is. And I just feel wrong. I just feel wrong. I feel wrong for existing. And if that's you, if that resonates, Bloodstone, my Bloodstone crew, I am surrounding you in love right now. And to borrow here we go again, it's a biblically themed reading. To borrow the old word, rebuke, I'm going to have to rebuke that one because you are worthy of all the love and you're doing an incredible job. You actually might be knocking it out of the park without even realizing it. I can see that you are. And if we look at this card, there's a whole story and a parable behind this card, but I'm going to use this to skip the parable and go straight to you. In this card, I see the person. I see them chained to their duties. But I see this halo and I see this peaceful expression. Like, let's see, I'm hoping that that's focusing, that you can see this. Like, you may be chained to your duties. You're a person who has incredible amount of integrity and you do your shit. Forgive the language. I'm gonna drop in the F-bomb because I'm a big fan of this word. You fucking get your shit done. I'm getting Capricorn vibes, but you don't have to be a Capricorn. It just makes me think of my Caps because getting the shit done is the order of the day. Unfortunately, what happens when we get our self-worth from our accomplishments is if we don't feel like we're doing enough, and I slip into this all the time myself. If we don't feel like we're doing enough, we hate ourselves for it. And once again, friendly reminder, you are so doing enough and you are a human being, not a human doing. I hope that didn't make you throw up because it's circulating on a lot of inspirational Instagrams all over the internet. But it's here for you, okay? You're a human being, not a human doing. So throw that one out with respect into a compostable trash can. Two of Spirals. So we're talking Two of Wands energy here. My number 2 is all about duality, but I don't see duality in this card. This is the Chrysalis Tarot, and what I see is a bird building 2 nests. Now, when a bird builds 2 nests, the last time it was a bird, I can't recall it too clearly. I think my brain might have worked differently than it does now. But in this card, in the Chrysalis Tarot, it talks about being industrious. And it comes from the same card here. Bloodstone Crew, the more you do is not the more you are worth. So you might be building 2 nests even though you only need 1, because you're thinking more is more is more. More is more. The more I get done, the more I accomplish, the more worthy I am, the more deserving I am, the more things are going to go my way, the more I'm going to conquer this shit. I can't promise you that. I think what you're learning here is that, yeah, you have the power to do a lot, but you can't control time. You've got to surrender to divine timing. And if you're trying to do your way into accomplishing some sort of thing, like you have this dream, you want something, there's something you want that maybe you haven't even clearly admitted to yourself. And you think that by doing and doing and doing, you're going to get to that thing, you're going to accomplish that thing, and that thing is going to be yours. Well, news flash for ya. Another, I can't believe it, but this is another biblical, sort of somewhat religious reference. I swear to you, I am not like this. I am not religious. But my grandma's talking to me right now, which this is something she used to say all the time, not to me because I was like 5. Great Grandma May, how you doing? We plan and God laughs. Yeah, you can do all the things, my beautiful Bloodstone crew. God, I love you. You can do all the things. You can work that fine ass of yours right off. It doesn't guarantee you anything. It does not guarantee you anything in this life. So while I'm loving your industrious spirit and there's a sense of creativity and attention to detail that you have, you are a true badass. Don't get it twisted. You're a true badass. You balance so many things on your shoulders. You're making shit happen. But what we've got to let go is the fact that we're making shit happen to accomplish something, A. And B, we've got to let go that we're making shit happen so that we can be worthy. That's just not it. And you're going through an initiation. This is a powerful time for you right now. So, my beautiful Bloodstone crew, you got to understand, you're learning an incredible lesson, which is you are not in control. You are not in control. You can control your body like a robot. I don't know why you're not a robot. Oh, but you think you are. You work hard like you are. No more of that, please. You can control your body. You can control your tasks. You can micromanage your schedule or not. Maybe you're not quite as organized as you'd like to be. I'm getting a feeling that you would like to improve your organization, but you're still a badass. Let me just make that very clear. You still get shit done. I think you're doing an incredible job at what you're accomplishing, but I think we need to adjust our intentions a little bit. It's time to recognize that worth is not even remotely related to value. And I'm sorry that the capitalist system that we live in, or that I live in, made you think that it was. Really sorry about that. So take a deep breath, Bloodstone crew, because we're about to go deeper. We're going to set aside these initial cards and we're going to get into the Chrysalis Tarot, which is not really meant to be reversed, but because I accidentally reversed it, shuffling it for my brother last Sunday, and then I never switched it back around, we're now going to have reversals. I don't know if I'm going to take them as reversals yet. No promises. Something we're going to be doing at the end of this is we're going to be saying a prayer for you, my Bloodstone crew. A, because everyone deserves a prayer. Everyone deserves to have someone praying for them, and I'm happy for that person to be me. Again, not a religious thing. If you don't identify with the word prayer, that is okay. See it as a blessing. See it as a spell. See it as an incantation. See it as intentions. See it as me speaking to your ancestors and your guides and making a request on your behalf from one powerful being to another. See it however your heart desires. But I'm praying for you, and that's the end of the story. So if you stick around long enough, you can see it happen and hear it. And I hope it touches you, because it is timeless. It goes across time and space. It transcends, and it's going to come straight to you and affect you today. So, spirit, divinity, bold creator intelligence. Wow. Yeah. For my Bloodstone crew, Where have they been? Where are they now? And where are they going? Ooh. 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 Oh, what are you hiding from me? What are you hiding from me, Bloodstone Crew? So you keep everything tightly laced, right? I can feel it. We're tightly laced. This is almost military vibes. Did you have military parents or were you in the military? Everything is tightly laced, disciplined, all up over the place. Did you work in a restaurant growing up? Or even now, do you work in a restaurant? I'm getting the vibe of the restaurant environment. Fast-paced, but disciplined. Everything's got to be clean, sanitary. Are you in a hospital? What is it that you do that is so life or death? Do you like the ancestors watching us? You a fan of that? Okay, sorry. You do have a playful side. I can feel that. Where have they been? Where are they? Okay. I'm getting tired of my jokes. And I don't blame you. Okay, we're getting a third card there, which my moonstones did not get. We're struggling to make everything fit here. Oh. I'm taking reversals. I just decided. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. So we had the Chariot show up for my moonstones in the last reading, but I do not get any sense of these energies being related. So if you have stayed for both, I would love to hear about why you chose that. I'm grateful for you for sticking around, and I love that you're here with me and we're hanging in the little reader's house. So you're always welcome, but I'm interested as to why you stuck around, because these are two vastly different energies, and although we did have the same card pop up in the last deck, it is not in the same place or with the same vibe. So let me know if my moonstones tried to become bloodstones or vice versa, and what all went there, and tell me the whole story. I love stories. So starting out, where you've been. Okay. I'm still here. Boy, am I here. And so are you. Okay, first thing I want to do is, can I applaud you, my Bloodstone crew? I can see why you're so grounded, because you've had not just your share, way more than your share of challenges. This is not written on the cards, but it's channeling. It's coming to me. I'm becoming you and your energy. And as I do that, I am seeing a childhood of work, a childhood of effort, a childhood of expectation. I'm seeing that you were, specifically, I'm getting childhood. You were raised to be not just intelligent, but on top of your shit. You might have had parents who were a little more wild than even you are now as an adult. And you had to hold things together. Both mentally, you had to provide a lot of intellectual stability in the home. And you also had to, well, you didn't have to. There was a feeling of camaraderie, and there was a feeling of familial joy and familial love. But I think everyone was very different. And I think maybe in your childhood, it didn't actually feel like you were part of the family. Maybe you felt like the black sheep, or maybe you felt like the kid who was, I've heard this before, and I don't know if I can even say it correctly, like an alien abducted the actual child, and then a changeling. That's what it's called, a changeling, which is giving me Outlander vibes. Outlander, if you watch that show, there's a whole thing in one of the seasons about a changeling. But maybe you felt like a changeling. Although, like I said, there was a whole vibe of family and everyone's together. Or maybe it's just you and one other person that you're close to, or you have a mentor or someone who's looking out for you. And I just spit on one of the cards, and I'm sorry about that if you saw that. I don't know how great the resolution on this video is going to be due to the lighting. but since I called myself out anyway, I'm going to go on a limb and say, in addition to your integrity, you're an honest person. Now, I don't think that you're so honest that you grab people by the collar, pull their face up to yours like a cartoon character and say, look, mother peeper, this is the way it is. I don't know that you're one of those truth tellers who shoves the truth in people's face, but I do think that you're honest, and I don't think you shy away from saying what's what. I'm getting Gemini, I'm getting Sagittarius, I'm also getting Virgo. And if you are a Pisces, I feel like, okay, you might not be an actual Pisces, or you may have Pisces in your big three, or you might not. Sometimes I find that the signs work as archetypes in their own right. So think of yourselves for a moment as a Pisces, even if you're not one, with a tender heart and the desire for community and stability, with a flowy dreamer side, which has been forced into the real world, which may have meant working at an early age, being academically successful at an early age, being yanked out of school at an early age. And even if you don't consider yourself an intellectual or I don't know, a worker. I mean, even if you're not employed or you weren't employed when you were young, there's this energy of, I create stability, I create family, I'm kind of a peacemaker when I can be. Even though she's resting, I don't get the sense that this was well, also the original Four of Swords is, well, it has a retreat vibe, but I don't get the sense that you had necessarily a restful childhood. I think you might have wished that you did, but I don't get the sense that it was very mentally restful. So, moving on to where you are now. We have the Page of Mirrors, who would be the Page of Cups, in reverse. And I, as I decided earlier, have decided that we are taking the card in reverse. And we have the Chariot, which is Herne, the hunter, in this deck. So this means there's two kinds of energies going on. There's some obstruction because we've got a reversal. It's like, okay, this is important. This is called the Healer card in the Chrysalis Tarot. And she's working with bees. Now, you couldn't pay me probably enough to work with bees, especially not without a hazmat suit or whatever that cool netting thing is that they wear. They meaning beekeepers. But homegirl is out here chilling with a flowery, let's see, can you see this? With a flower, oh my goodness, what is this called? Flower band? Flower head? Flower... Okay, whatever it is, please comment it. She's got the flowers on her head, and she's working with the bees. She's naked out here. I mean, she's got clothes on, but she's not protected. But she's the healer, so they're not going to do anything to her, right? But what we have here is this energy being obstructed. So there is the opportunity for and the notice of an offering, like it's time for you to have some healing. It's time for you to have some, perhaps the respite that you've been craving, because I don't think you ever allow yourself to feel tired. I feel incredibly energized right now, thanks to your energy, Bloodstone Crew. But I think you are tired. And even though you might not let yourself feel it, I think you absolutely are. And this Page of Mirrors, who would be the Page of Cups in the traditional tarot, is saying there's an opportunity here for love. There's an opportunity here for respite. There's an opportunity for the watery element, which is our emotions, to come in and soothe you. You're an intellectual. Again, even if you're not an academic, even if you don't have a university degree at this current moment in time, I get the sense that you're a student or a thinker or someone who's constantly in their head. And this goes back to your initial energy. And you're kind of getting this opportunity to have your respite and just have your peace. And if it's not an opportunity that's being offered to you by someone else, it's an opportunity that the universe is offering you. Maybe it's to take a vacation. Maybe it's to switch jobs. Maybe it's to change your sleep schedule. Maybe it's something you can already do that you don't need someone to hand to you. You don't need some kind of offering to be made to you. You can already do it, but are choosing not to. Instead, I'm going full bore ahead. I'm getting Chicken Run vibes. Spoiler alert for Chicken Run if you haven't seen it. What are you doing? Go see Chicken Run. at the very end when they're trying to fly the plane out. Which only makes sense if you've seen it. Chickens have built a plane and they're flying it out. And they go like full bore ahead, and they one of the chickens yells out with a Scottish accent, I think, "We're giving her all she's got." Or "We're giving her all she's got." Yeah, we're giving it all she's got. And I think you're giving it all you've got and not resting and not healing. And that's where you are right now. You're like trying to be the master of time. And the universe / God / spirit / the divine / Gaia / the power that's greater than you and I, at least. It's in us, but it's greater than us because it knows more than we do, because we're still kind of identified with our egos, probably. Is saying it's time to chill. And I'm hearing recollect, which is interesting. Have you forgotten something? Your divinity, maybe? It's time to chill and recollect. But maybe you're resisting that a little bit. So here's what's coming up next, based off of where we are with this energy. So 7 of Mirrors is my 7 of Cups, and it's all about illusions and fantasy. I think you're trying to create something in this world, an outcome. It's not maybe a naturally creative thing. Maybe you're a creative, but I'm getting more of an intellectual vibe. I don't know that you're so much of a creative as you are using a means to an end attitude. I must work in order to achieve my goals. I must do this in order to get where I want to go. I must accomplish X in order to achieve Y. And that leads us to a lot of illusions. Illusions and deception. We can have these goals, but when we use a means to an end attitude, here's what happens on a spiritual / vibrational level. When we have a means to an end attitude, we trick ourselves because we want to achieve an outcome that has a certain kind of vibration, a certain frequency. If you could see it, it might look like colors and images, tastes and smells, but we're using a totally different vibration and frequency, totally different images, smells, tastes, colors, and music. I didn't say music, but let's use music too, to try to get to here. You can't use different frequencies, a different frequency to try to bridge the gap to a new place that you're going. You can't listen to Kanye if your goal is to become Mozart. Both are incredible artists in their own right. However, the vibrations are not the same. And maybe there's something about Kanye and Mozart that I'm not consciously aware of, because that was meant to be random. If there's a connection, please comment it down below, because I don't know it. But yeah, you want to get to Mozart, you want to study classical, but you're listening to Kanye and using him as your inspo. It's a means to an end attitude. You're like, I just got to listen to any music. And the universe is like, no, you got to use the same fabric of the outfit that you're trying to sew. Like if you want to make an outfit out of silk, don't sew with linen, because when you're done sewing, it's not going to be silk, it's going to be linen. So what I'm getting here is, to make a really short story long, as is one of my specialties, I'm seeing that there's a sort of strength that you're exerting, and the strength card in this deck is Papa Legba. There's a sort of strength that you are exerting and holding because you're an incredibly strong person, Bloodstone Crew. You're stronger than anything. You are a rock, you're a mountain, you're a pillar, you support so many people, you hold so many people up. You're an elephant, maybe? I almost even said that, and there's one right here. Just strong, like bold, grounded. I felt your energy immediately grounding, and I was like, whoo, thank goodness. Because with my Moonstone Crew, I was in the fields. With my Bloodstone Crew, I'm in the intellects. And there's going to come a time to reassess and say, what do I really want? Because I'm not actually using true strength here. Yes, I have grit. Yes, I have strength inside of me. That's who I am. But the attitude that I'm pushing forward with right now is not strength and grit. It's more like obstinance is what I'm getting. It's like sheer stubbornness and willpower. Now, it's so funny. While I was exercising earlier, I was doing kettlebell swings. Fun story. I love me some kettlebell swings. I was doing kettlebell swings, and there's this whole thing about you got to do them right, and they're super exhausting, but if you can do them correctly, it's a killer workout, and it is. I was in the middle of my 3rd set of 20, Not trying to make this sound fancy, by the way. That's a lot for me. And I was pushing hard. And I was thinking to myself, I'm so glad I learned that I had a ton of willpower young so that I could realize it would never take me where I wanted to go. Let me break down how that fit into the conversation. If you have a moment, if you can bear with me, Bloodstone, because I know you want to get straight to the point. So thanks for being patient with me. When you don't do a kettlebell swing with a proper form, you injure yourself. And you also don't get the benefits of the workout. You're cheating yourself. And I was trying to push for more. I was going to go for 40 in a set. And I was about to slip into a very old habit of mine called willpower, I think. In my mind, it's willpower, but in truth, it's obstinance and stubbornness. Now, what I learned when I was younger is that I had a ton of willpower, but it never actually pushed me through any obstacle. It never gave me more physical strength. It usually just led to me hurting myself, jumping off literally the roof of my backyard shed and landing on my knee. Like I hit my knee to my eyeball. But I had thought, because I had so much willpower and strength, I was going to nail this. So many other things. It never made me run faster. It never made me lift more. It never made me a better athlete. Not that I've ever been an athlete, but willpower was always preached when I was growing up as the thing. Like, all you need is willpower and grit. Later, I realized all that you need is heart. All that you need is heart. So if you're trying to willpower and grit your way through something right now to achieve something, I'm here to tell you, stop, listen. What you actually need is your heart, okay? What does your heart want, Bloodstone? When was the last time you asked yourself? When was the last time you did some journaling? Okay? That's your assignment tonight. To journal, to think about what your heart wants, and to reassess the path, because I see all kinds of strength in you, and I see that you could keep going forward forever. You're the master of doing. But what I'd like to ask you, and what the ancestors would like to ask you today. Hello, Bloodstone. I'd like to ask you this. What are you doing it for? If it's means to an end, and you can just name a goal, oh, more money. Oh, I'd like to buy the building. Oh, I'd like to get a promotion. Oh, I'd like to make $220,000 so then I can ask her to be my girlfriend. I got to make more money for the business. I need to make at least $30,000 so I can feed the employees. I just want to be noticed by my boss. I just got to get the degree so that I have the cred. I just got to get my doctorate finished up. I just got to transfer to a new job. I just got to make it through this season because right now the principal's eyes on me, but when it's off of me, then I can move on. Oh, I just got to pastor at this church for one more season, one more year, because then I can get an offer at another church. Whatever it may be, and that was just some random stuff. Talk to your heart. So let's clear these out of here. And let's go into what you're becoming as a result of this shift. So what I saw, just to summarize it, my beautiful Bloodstones, is that you are a person of grit and willpower, but that sometimes means stubbornness and continuing on a path to achieve something, because productivity and doing is something that you were raised to do. You were made into a warrior and a doer, probably at a very young age. And now you're a master doer who do be doing. I don't think you smoke a lot of weed, but maybe you do because your mind is always going. Smoking weed sometimes can also give people like the energy and the willpower to do more and to keep going, but that's not always for the right reasons. So whether you smoke weed or you use a stimulant or you do something else, just so you can keep doing, so you can keep going, I just want you to think about why. Why? Because what the universe / God / guy / you fill in the blank, the great spirit wants you to know is at the end of this, even though you're charging forward, you're going to be reassessing yourself. You're going to be wondering if you acted in delusion. You will achieve what you've been wanting. Oh, yes, you will, because you're a doer. But you're going to wonder when you achieve it, why did I do all that? What did I do all that for? Like, whoa, why did I do all that? So you're having the incredible opportunity now to assess before you accomplish. Now, let's see who you're becoming, what it all means, irrespective of what you choose to do. Let's ask what this stage is causing you to become. So for my Bloodstone crew, yes, thank you. Thank you so much. The Maiden, ooh, innocence, reborn. The Seed, ooh, I'm going back to the beginning vibes, baby. Back to the something something. There's a song there. I can only giving a fragment of it. Back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Okay. And the Sustainer, of course you are, because that's another thing. Okay, I've been spending so much time like telling you how it be. Let me pause real quick, Bloodstone crew, and just thank you, because I might have thanked you once, but I'd like to thank you at least 3 times. Thank you so much for the grounding energy that you provide, because one thing you don't get is enough credit for all you do. And you're doing, yes, I understand you're doing so much because you want to earn your worth. You don't want to be guilty. You feel like you've got to produce and be the maker and the doer and make shit happen. But it is a huge service to the people in your life, and they are so grateful. And that is why you are becoming the Sustainer, because the Sustainer gives generously, and you are a giver, and maybe no one ever gives to you, my Bloodstones. So I'd like to give you my love and remind you that above all, you deserve love to the max capacity. You deserve to be blissed out of your mind with love and appreciation. So whatever that thing is that you're getting, I hope you get it. But what I want you to know as you go through this stage is that we got to keep in mind the why and the how. And do the ends justify the means? I don't want you to be overworked. I don't want you to be tired. I don't want you to get what you want and then wonder why you worked so hard to get it. I want you to find intrinsic motivation and intrinsic love. And that's what you're going to find, because guess what you're becoming? You're becoming the Maiden. The Maiden is innocent. The Maiden is finally resting. The Maiden is one of the major archetypes of feminine energy. And feminine energy means to receive and to allow and to flow. So this stage is teaching you how to get back in touch with your innocence, or if you had your innocence taken away a long time ago by working or always having to do, you're getting an opportunity to touch back in with that again, or for the first time. Sorry, I keep saying again, but it could be for the very first time, because yeah, you were a baby, but sometimes we get our innocence taken away from us so young that we don't even get a chance to know what innocence feels like. We just turn into adults as kids. And adults are just kids who have had their innocence taken away. Some adults manage to hang on to that innocence, gosh. I've tried to. I know so many people who try to. And you're getting the opportunity to go there and have femininity and innocence, a new world perspective restored to you. An incredible opportunity. This is the byproduct of where you are now. It kind of reminds me of the Fool card in the tarot, but with a feminine twist, which is, the Fool is kind of a masculine card because he's projective. He's about to walk himself off a cliff. I mean, that's Brill, because he doesn't know, Brill short for brilliant. He doesn't know what awaits him. So he's like, yeah, me and my little dog Toto are going to walk off this cliff. Honestly, not the most thoughtful thing he ever did. But you have this opportunity for newness. A restart as the Maiden. The Maiden is the first archetype in the Maiden Mother Crone. Now, interestingly, with our Moonstones, we had a Mother card coming up. But with you, our Bloodstones, we have a Maiden card coming up. So, beautiful thing. Innocence. The opportunity to be new again. A Maiden is also considered, and I don't even know if I want to say this. Do I want to say this? Oh, okay. I've got to say it. So, also because I've recently been rewatching Bridgerton, and it's totally a Bridgerton thing, which is a Maiden is considered unsullied, which means she's still a virgin. Now, I have my own thoughts on this. We can go down that trajectory another time. In fact, leave a comment related to your thoughts on, or don't, because it's kind of a messy topic. What I would like to declare to you is that virginity as a construct is not a spiritual principle. It's not in my experience with mediumship and channeling, speaking with extraterrestrials, reading the tarot, talking to the divine. I'm no expert. I'm no pro, but I've never heard from the other side that virgins are more valuable than anyone else. Just want to put that out there. Now, there is something related to virginity which has been totally twisted by modern and ancient society, which is innocence. In my own humble opinion, virginity and innocence have very little to do with each other. I have both known of and been very close to virgins who were not innocent in any sense of the word, not of mind, not of heart, and maybe of body, but that's just like one of many pillars. So I'm sorry about this virginity rant. I don't know why. Maybe it's relevant to you. Whether you are or aren't a virgin, you deserve love. You absolutely deserve love above all else. So please keep that in mind. Both are equally worthy, equally deserving, equally powerful. So let's throw the virginity idea out. I'm talking innocence. Unrelated. Innocence is just, and it can be brought back. That's the thing about innocence. You can't bring back virginity, but you can bring back innocence, true innocence, which is a spiritual frequency. The frequency and energy of innocence is a real thing in the spirit realms, whereas virginity is a construct. But innocence is a real thing, and it can be brought back no matter who you are, where you've been, what you've done, what was taken away from you as a child, what responsibilities were given to you at a young age. Innocence and a love for life can be brought back. And I don't know why I said a love for life. That just kind of slipped out. Maybe that's relevant to you. Not just a love for life, but wonder and awe. The seed. Okay, another brand new beginning. The seed is at the center of it all. Now, this reminds me of a tree trunk, and I believe in the book, these rings are, the seed is always in the center, even with a tree trunk that has many rings, that has been around for many, many moons. The seed is always present. So it's the same thing I was just saying in a way, which is innocence can always be brought back. A new beginning can always be brought back. And the sustainer. So it's not like you're getting reset back to zero, my beautiful Bloodstone crew. You're not losing all of your momentum or your progress. You're not getting reset back to zero. What you've done and what you're doing, you're killing the game in the material plane, in the 3D. And I'm hearing sirens, and you probably are too. I live close to a hospital. So yeah, red alert. You're not being set back to zero. You're taking everything you've learned, and you're getting a second chance to be innocent again, to be more playful, to be more light, to be more feminine. Whether you identify as male, female, or anything, it's an energy. So it's like a yin energy. It's a feminine, free-flowing energy. It's a passive energy and a receptive energy, as opposed to a projective or an active energy. And that's going to be a change for you. But you're going to love it, Bloodstone crew. You're absolutely going to love it. Let's get your advice, and then let's go ahead and go into your prayer. So from Spirit, what is some advice for my Bloodstone crew? What do they need to know as they revisit a means to an end attitude and start looking at their heart? Past the guilt, into the heart. You get to decide what you want. You are allowed to want what you want and receive what you want. Receiving, the maiden receives. It's light, receptive energy. No more hustling. It's time to receive. And it's time to move on. Waves of prosperity. Make a decision. Ooh, and a soulmate relationship. Okay, I don't know why it came to me and I decided not to say it. We were looking at some cards here. I don't think it was, okay. The Maiden kind of made me think of romance. It was the Healer, the Page of Mirrors. So in the traditional tarot anyway, not just, did you see that? I'm sorry. In the traditional tarot, the Page of Cups might be a notification of a love opportunity that's coming your way. And so I thought, okay, there could be something related to love here. And now it's screaming at me. And you, Bloodstone Crew. So starting with time to move on. It's time to let go of the old and worn out so the new can come in. I'm getting hustle mentality with this. Let's let hustle mentality go. Let's let means to an end attitude go. And let's start working with the heart, can we? Can we start working with the heart? Waves of prosperity. New abundance and exciting opportunities wash over you now. They absolutely do. We've got the Maiden, we've got the Seed. These are new beginnings. And we've got the Sustainer. So prosperity-wise, I get a sense that you got a good handle on things. This is like a ball of clay, the maker, I get big maker. And when I say maker, I mean someone who makes their reality in the material world. Big maker vibes here. So waves of prosperity are coming. That goes without saying. You may find that the material prosperity is not as fulfilling as you initially hoped or thought that it would be. That is okay. Now you know in advance, heads up. The heart is always going to be more fulfilling than what the mind sends you off to do. Make a decision. Feeling stuck or indecisive, listen to your intuition and make a decision. Oh, my beautiful Bloodstone Crew, you are so good at being grounded, so good at being rational, so good at using your intellect and getting other people's ducks in a row and your own, except when it comes to matters of the heart. Am I right? Okay, so I feel these two go together, make a decision and soulmate relationship. And I sense that you're going to be put in a situation where you need to decide that it's time to make a move for love. It is time to either fight for love or speak for love or be honest for love or just prioritize love. Prioritize fun. Prioritize maybe whether you're male, female, or however you identify, maybe there's a maiden in your life. Maybe you're not just becoming the maiden, but you're also encountering the maiden and the sustainer united by the seed is another way to read this. And so here it is. Maybe you got through this whole reading, Bloodstone Crew, thinking, oh, no mention of love. I guess I really am supposed to like not go for that relationship that I've been thinking of. Incorrect. You are supposed to go with with whatever your heart wants. It may be the relationship, it may not be the relationship, but I get the sense that you're going to be presented with a soulmate relationship opportunity, and you're going to need to make the decision about, do I go for this or just do I keep the hustle life going, keep the hustle life alive? And if it's not a soulmate relationship, maybe you're already married or maybe you're already in a relationship and maybe you're very happy in it, to which I say, that's amazing. Maybe it's going to be about an opportunity to follow your heart in another capacity that you've never done before, and you're going to awaken a piece of your own soul that's been locked away or put away since childhood or an early time when you had to take so much responsibility on that you didn't have the opportunity to explore that. But the opportunity is coming now. Whoa. So let's go ahead and say your prayer, my beautiful bloodstones. So this one goes out to the great divine. Oh, gorgeous spirit and intelligence that gives us life, that gave us a body, a mind, and a heart with which to explore and pursue and dream and become and allow and receive. Please take my beautiful Moonstone Crew in your hands and touch them right in the heart. Activate that heart center. Remove the guilt. Let it flow out of them in the form of tears, in the form of sleep, in the form of rest, in the form of automatic writing or journaling, or just this moment right now. Just imagine my hand on your chest and the divine's hand on my hand, and we're all connected here. Just easing the guilt away and saying it's okay to follow your heart. Not only is it okay, it's necessary. You deserve love above all things. You deserve love. Please remember that. And so with this prayer, I ask that the Bloodstone Crew be reminded that they deserve to follow the heart, and all the rewards that come from the heart are intrinsically fulfilling, and that there is more to life than hustling and working and becoming. And I ask that the divine reminds them of that every day, forever, until they know it, until they believe it, and until they're running around telling other people they need to live through their heart. That is what I ask for. So I'm sending this out to you, my beautiful Bloodstone Crew. You are so very worthy. I'm lighting this incense stick and I'm going to let it burn on your behalf. And it will touch all of you no matter where you are, when you are. If you're seeing this, I said a prayer for you. This is the divine looking at you. So, and you go into my holder. There was my Moonstone Crew, but that burned out long ago. And that is where I'm leaving you for today. So if this reading touched you anywhere in your heart, perhaps, yeah, you have one. Did you know? Please like, comment, subscribe, notification bell if you want to know when the little reader is going to do more little readings. This is a little bigger than I thought it would be, but that's because you deserve it. And comment about what you felt, what you thought, what resonated. If there were any references that I made incorrectly, for instance, please correct me on them. And I'm sending you all the love I got. So thank you for bearing with me. Very first YouTube reading ever. And go forth and live from your heart. Okay, Bloodstone Crew? Okay. Mwah. All my love. Hello, my beautiful Mookaite Crew. If you chose this beautiful Mookaite egg, welcome to your reading. Mookaite is one of my favorite stones. I believe it's Australian, or can be found in Australia near the river. And it's a form of jasper, but it's got like jasper with a twist. The energy of Mookaite is so uplifting. And as I'm feeling your energy, I'm immediately getting this sunny, lighthearted feeling, even if it's buried deep, Mookaite Crew, even if you've seen some shit. And it's been weighing on you, I can feel just a lightness and an essence of this. So if you feel that and you vibe, stick around. If you're immediately like, get this out of my face, I'm not sunny, happy, or anything like it, it might be time to check out either my Rainbow Moonstone Crew or my Bloodstone Crew. So that is totally up to you. But if you're sticking around for Mookaite, I'm so glad to have you. So in case you skipped the intro, which is totally fine, I do too. Every time I watch a reading from a couple of my favorite readers, who would be Aso Tarot and Kino Tarot, what do? I skip the intro. I think I've only watched like 3 intros ever. And of the videos, I can't count how many I've watched. So let that be known, I guess. So we're going to start with the archetype that you are. Remember that this is your story. You probably gleaned that from the title. So the story of you, it's where you are now, where you're headed, and a very tiny little touch on where you've been. Because as much as I would love to spend 8 hours with you, and don't get me wrong, I would, that would be a lot of information in one go. So we don't need to go into the where you've been so deeply. That's why we'll only touch on the where you've been briefly as it's relevant to where you are and where you're headed. So we're going to start out with your archetype of what you are currently. We're then going to look at your greatest obstacle. And then using the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot, we are going to look at your greatest gift right now. So starting with your current archetype is the orphan. Okay, Mookaite Crew. Even with all the shit that goes on in your life, you keep a happy face. Thank you for that. We need that so much in this world, and I appreciate that. But let's not do that at the cost of you, okay? But I'm getting ahead of myself. Obstacles, insecurity. Oh, Mookaite Crew. But the greatest gift, oh, it's the star. So you're an optimist. Oh, Mookaite. Okay, so I'm holding you. I'm feeling you. I'm with you. I'm loving you all over the place because this story, tale as old as time, it is, but that doesn't mean that it's not the most valuable story of time either. Tale as old as time, that would be Beauty and the Beast reference. That'd be Mrs. Potts. So let's start with Beauty and the Beast. We got Belle. And whether you identify as male, female, or anything else, it's not relevant to the use of this story. Belle is an eternal optimist. If I remember correctly, she says, There must be more than this provincial life. And she knows that even though she just walks around, hits up the library, gets hit on by Gaston and his 3 blonde babes, and her father's like thought of as a loon, you know, shit's always going wrong for Belle. But she knows there must be more than this provincial life, and I almost said a bad word. Okay, I think I'm gonna let myself curse. I'm not exactly sure. I already cursed in the other piles, so it just feels wrong, Mookaite. With you, it feels wrong. But she stays an optimist. Let's just leave it at that. She believes, she manifests that shit. Yeah, things are rough with the beast too. I'm not gonna lie to you. You probably already know. She ends up in the castle. Homeboy is an avoidant narcissist, probably. But he gets his shit together at some point, and then it's all happily ever after from there. And that's the story that I'm seeing right before me. So we've got the orphan, we've got the abandoned. With this archetype number 5, number 5 is a card of adversity, turmoil. I mean, number 5 is a card. Number 5 is a number. Numerologically speaking, number 5 is a number of ups and downs, adversity, turmoil, change. It harkens or heralds. Does it harken or herald? Maybe it does both. Harken and herald. Change. But it's in this particular archetype, it's got 3 things going on. First of all, an open hand. You could say the hand is dropping the flower, or you could say the hand is receiving the flower or reaching for the flower. In the way I see it, the flower is so very close to the hand. And we have the serpent, which reminds me of the Ouroboros, which is a serpent that eats itself. Ouroboros. I've actually never heard that word said out loud, so I have no idea how to say it. But if you know, comment it, please. So, homeboy or girl, or non-identifying as a binary, serpent, it represents infinity, it represents healing, and it represents time. It can also represent spiritual awakening. So while we may feel alone, there is something powerful going on with the orphan card. And that vibe is written all over you. Power to the nth degree. I can't point at a card and tell you, but I'm telling you as a channeler that I can feel it. I can feel that you have something that I believe in Buddhism is referred to as the inner smile. And this is a type of energy that pulls up at the corners, very much like a smile. No matter how things start to fall apart, you bring to it some kind of humor, you bring some kind of grace. You let the people know shit's gonna be okay. I know it looks like a mess now, but it's gonna be okay. I bet you can be the one of your friends group, maybe not the one, maybe you have a charismatic friends group. I feel like you do. I feel like you guys make a lot of jokes, laugh for hours. Maybe you puff on the ganja a little bit, but if it's legal in your area, but you make a lot of jokes, you hang out with one another, maybe, or maybe you're the solitary type. Although again, I don't see that. I'm getting bubbly, charismatic Mookaite energy. I've always thought that Mookaite is like the popular kid in school. You got the jokes is what I'm trying to say. Whether it's your family or your friends or your crew at work, your coworkers, Mookaite Crew, you are cracking people up. You are putting smiles on people's faces because you've got love to give and you've got joy to share. But you know what else you got? A broken heart. And you might not know it, or you might not let other people know it, but I know it because I can feel you, and energy doesn't lie. So if we look at your greatest obstacle here, it's insecurity. This is the quintessential card for the people pleaser. Insecurity is what makes us people pleasers. It's what often makes us the funniest person in the room. It makes us give everything that we have, honestly, because when we're insecure, we rely on the approval and validation of others to give us a sense of worth. And there is nothing bad about this. This is how we're trained and socialized. Let me rephrase. This does not make you a bad person. This does not make you a failure. This is not a punishment. This is how we are conditioned in our society to be completely reliant on the approval of others so that we complete certain social checks, and we go through the program the way we've been trained and taught to, Milestones, social milestones, usually related to monetary purposes. So you're getting a job, you do your part, you're a good cog in the machine. It helps if you're beautiful, smart, have accolades. I'm sorry, Bloodstone's incense stick is blowing into the frame. I mean, they're smoke. And you're gonna get an incense stick too. We are getting a prayer for every person in this reading today. I'm saying a prayer for all of us, every single group, every single crew. So Bloodstone's stick is coming into our way, but that's okay. It seems to suggest actually that maybe you tend to get steamrolled by stronger personalities, by grounded personalities, by people who don't seem to give a shit. You might get steamrolled by them. And that's incredibly common when we're people pleasers, because we, including me, recovering people pleaser, by the way, put on a happy face and we put on a smile and we just do what we've got to do so that we can get it done and cause the least waves possible and make everybody happy. And then hopefully we'll get a little nugget of validation in there somewhere, and then we carry on. Unfortunately, and I was hoping I'd be able to give this speech today, and it turns out that I do be getting to. Unfortunately, when we are people pleasers, that means that we are reliant on external validation. That means that we must manipulate in order to get that validation. We can't go about getting it directly, because when we're people pleasers, we feel like we have to do for someone else, like we have to give away something of ours in order to receive something of theirs. Instead of hold on to what's ours and then reach out another hand and say, hey, I also want that too. Fill up both of my hands, baby. We're always like, oh, wait, no, you can have my stuff. Oh, maybe could I have one of your little things, please, a little coin. I gave away all my coins, maybe I can have a little coin. That's what we're doing, is we're running around begging. And oh my goodness, there's a brilliant person who, if I remember the name, I will definitely put it in the description. I cannot think of it, but I believe Nonviolent Communication was a program that he created. And I believe one of his rules were, we're always saying one of two things. Under every statement and every action, we're either saying please or thank you. Let me say that again. Behind everything we say and everything we do, we're either saying please or we're saying thank you. And people pleasers like myself in recovery are only ever saying please. Please validate me. Please give me. Please. And then when you get a little something, you're like, oh, thank you so much. Thank you. You run away with your crumb. So people pleasing, though, it has a manipulative vibe to it. It requires that we manipulate a situation by doing an action in order to hopefully attain a certain result. And nobody likes to hear this, including me, but manipulation and narcissism are very closely related. I am not calling people who are people pleasers narcissists. I am not saying that. But I am saying there is an element of manipulation involved, and it can attract the energy of narcissists, like the one we see in this card, who looks like a little demon, to us, to poke our heart. Because we're kind of on the same frequency. We're kind of on the same wavelength. Because even though our intentions are so pure, we just want to make everybody smile. We just want to make everybody happy. We want to lift every spirit and lift every heart. This is a very, very easy way to get narcissists into our circle. And people will tell you like, oh, narcissists, they feed off of codependent individuals and people pleasers because they're easy prey, because they're pleasers. And that's absolutely true. But they're easy prey and they're pleasers through their own act of like gentle manipulation. So again, it's the way we're raised. It's nobody's fault. It is something that happens to us. It's super common in families where we have strong-willed parents or we're already steamrolled at a young age. It has nothing to do with casting blame and everything to do with reclaiming our power. In my Mookaite Crew, that is what you're doing today, is you are reclaiming your power. So if you stuck around long enough to get through this speech, and if you manage to even allow yourself to be remotely compared to a narcissist, I applaud you to the max, because that means you are absolutely capable of handling any kind of realizations and self-growth that you get today. Mobilize it, take it, and turn your life around. And as I can see, what's working for you is the star. So you're on the precipice of turning your life around as it is, like turning your life around and getting what you desire and filling up your heart and breaking through your insecurity. It's your destiny. Of course it's your destiny, because above all, you deserve love. Don't forget it. So let's take a look at the tarot and see where you've been, where you're going. Oh, excuse me, where you've been, where you are, and where you're going. So, about the prayer. The reason I'm doing a prayer, and if you're not religious, it's okay. It still works. It can be a blessing. You can look at it as an incantation. You can think of it as me speaking with your ancestors or your guides, a request. It's just having someone advocate for you for once, Mookaite, because I get the sense that no one ever advocates for you. You're doing all the advocating for everybody else. So you're putting a smile on everyone else's face. You're lifting all the spirits on everyone else's face. And you have no idea where to begin with getting your own needs met effortlessly. And I wish it didn't require effort, but sometimes it does require that we expend some effort within ourselves to tweak a few gears and turn a few knobs in our own heart. And then we can start to see the results that we dream of in the exterior. Because you might have run up against a wall and been like, why am I stumped? Why am I giving so much goodwill and good vibes out into the world? And nothing that I want happens. Or it happens, but not at the rate that I want it. I feel like you're still an optimist, Mookaite Crew. I feel like you still give it your all, bring your best, show up with pure intentions every time. I feel like where there may be a tweak required is just in the inner workings. Oops. So let's see what's in the inner workings. Spirit, for my Mookaite Crew, where have they been? Wow. Where are they going? Excuse me. This is the second time I've said this wrong. Where have they been? Where are they now? And where are they going, Spirit? Show us the way. Ooh. Oh. Okay. So yeah, when they want to come, they want to come. You can't stop them. Don't think about that too hard. Okay. So let's look. Ooh. Spicy. I love spicy. Okay. Wow, Mookaite Crew. Okay, do you guys like Disney? Because now we're getting let's get down to business. We're not defeating any Huns, but we are having both a Beauty and the Beast reference and a Mulan reference. And holy moly, if that doesn't just say it, from Belle to Mulan. Again, it does not matter how you identify gender-wise, or what your sex is, or whether you feel you're more masculine or feminine. Now we're having Mrs. Doubtfire reference. Work with me. Think to yourself about the archetype of the character, about the energy carried in the character. It is non-gendered. It is just an energy. And I'm seeing both a Belle and a Mulan. So two warriors in their own right. Belle showed up at the castle. She was like, you've got my dad trapped in here. He can't handle this. Get him the fuck out of this jail prison thing and get me in there, because yeah, I can handle it. Now, was that Belle manipulating the situation? Maybe a little bit. But she did it. Everything turned out right. I just realized that's kind of almost exactly the story of Mulan. Mulan also rescued her dad. Do you ever think about that? So Mulan's dad gets drafted to fight the Huns in the Chinese army, and Mulan's like, nope, not even gonna give my dad the chance to do this. I'm taking over. She grabs the suit, she dresses up as, well, not him, but as, oh my gosh. What does Mushu, Ping is her name, her, her fake brother. I mean, she doesn't even have a brother, so she names herself Ping. But Mulan also totally goes to save her dad. So I'm getting huge self-sacrificial energy here, Mookaite, and I love that. I love it, but we also have to moderate it to ensure that we're not self-sacrificing to the point of self-destruction, okay? You hear me? We're not self-sacrificing to the point of self-destruction, because your spirit is gold, and you bring the joy, and you bring the laughter, and you just bring it. But what you giving to yourself, Mookaite? What are you giving to yourself? Are you filling your own cup? Do you even know what you want? Do you even know who you are? Do we have a little crisis of lost identity here? I'm getting that this urge to fill the cups of others comes from the place of a healer. We see that in the orphan card, because once again, the serpent represented here in this circular fashion, big healer vibes, BHV, if you will. And so, yes, in there is the desire of a healer to have peace on earth, goodwill toward men. I just referenced religion again, which I thought I had finished doing, but I have not. If you watched either the Moonstone pile or the Bloodstone pile, you know that it's been a religious evening here in the Little Reader's house. So what I'm getting is big healer vibes, big healer energy, BHE. But when big healer energy is not when we as people are not grounded and doing rigorous self-care, where we know what our values are, we know what our life goals are, we know what our intentions are, we're taking care of our body, mind, and spirit, and we're declaring our truth to the world. You know how difficult it is to get all 5 of these pillars right? It is insanely difficult. So when we're not doing that, healers get the worst rap. This is why, just to go back to the narcissist thing, I think this is why they tend to attract or entrain with narcissist energy, because people with a high potential for light energy have an equally high potential for shadow energy. And when it gets inverted, let's say you're like at, let's say you have like 100,000 units of light energy, whereas someone else might have like 1,000, but you have like 100,000 units of light energy. It's all this healer power, and it's like, woo, the charts is just off the charts. But it means that as a being, you also have 100,000 units of shadow energy, because these two are always equally matched in every individual. For this 3D universe to exist, we're equal poles of negative and positive. We have equal amount of negative numbers, and we have equal amount of positive numbers, and perfect balance is that 0 in the middle. So what I'm trying to say here is you got tremendous healing potential, but when it's not being kept up and tended to properly, and instead it's being given to everybody, and your cup is constantly pouring, like, someone hand me a cup. Okay, a Tibetan singing bowl will do. Oops. So your cup, you're constantly like pouring your cup. Oh, here you go, here you go, here you go. Oh, you need something. Just when you're filling it back up with your sleep and your good diet and your journaling and your own spiritual practices, because I can feel you have a deep connection to the spiritual and the creative. Every time you get oh my gosh, another Disney reference. Every time she gets a minute, that's the time that they begin it. Cinderella, Cinderella, Cinderella. Ooh, just pouring it out. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, here you go. Like, you're just giving it away, Mookaite Crew. And I can't have that. I can't have you giving it away. What I'm going to need you to do is start giving it to yourself. So let's look at where you've been. You've been torn. You've been divided. You have tremendous creative energy, and you might even have a knack for business or for abundance. Creatively gifted could mean the arts, but it could also mean clever entrepreneurial types of endeavors. You could be a master of coming up with ideas for businesses, or you could be a manager. You're either a manager in maybe a corporate environment, or maybe I'm getting a food service environment, entertainment. Whatever it is, you deal with people, and you're a charismatic person, but you often find that you're of 2 minds. I'm almost getting a Gemini vibe here. And it doesn't mean to say that Gemini are always of 2 minds, but I'm just suggesting that you will become whatever is required to make peace in the environment that you're in. And this could mean that when either you in a management position or you in just any position of power, or in any moment, maybe you're a student, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom, whatever that moment is when you're given a chance to make a decision, you might have like a first instinct, because I think you have intuition that speaks to you. And I think you hear it for about 1 millisecond before you second guess yourself, or you go, oh, I'm not so sure. What does the expert say? What does the person who's in the higher position than me say? Or maybe not even a higher position than me. You might actually defer to people who, if you're in the workforce, are a lower position than you. Or you might defer to people who are your boss. Or you might defer to a spouse, a partner, even one of your children. You might defer to just anyone who's around. And when I say defer, I mean that you void out your own opinion and your own thought. We just, right as I said, void out, we lost a candle there. So, but that's okay. That's just a tea light. It was their time to go. Goodbye, little candle. So you might defer. You might void your own opinion, void your own intuition in favor of what somebody else says, because that is what's going to keep the peace. And also because you don't trust yourself, because you haven't had in your past the opportunity to build up faith in your own intuition and build up faith in your own knowing, your own inner knowing. And it takes a long time to build up A, the courage, and B, the ability to trust in your own inner knowing. So that's the past. That's where you've been. Here's the moment where you are now. So you're recommitting to a situation. You're doubling down. Now, we've all done this. It's either a situation that you're happy in, or it's a situation that you're just making the best of, and you tell yourself that you're happy in it, but you are really like just bound and determined to make the best of it. My Mookaite crew, you have so much optimism and light and gold and sunshine in you that you know that you can bring the best to any situation. A blessing and a curse, and we're going to find out how it's both right now. It's a blessing because you can make any place a better place to be. You can make any environment less stressful, less tense. You can empower other people. You can remind other people of what they're capable of. And you can get by on just the joy of that, of boosting other people, which I love, my Mookaite crew. That is such a beautiful and noble thing to do. You're like an exhorter. You encourage and build other people up to be just happy in their space. So what I see is that you're recommitting to something internally that maybe hasn't been working, that you have possibly contemplated leaving in the past. Like, oh, I don't think I was... That little nudge of intuition, the niggle. I have another deck that speaks to this niggling feeling, which is like, it's a nudge, like niggle, wiggle. It kind of like just, it gets you. I don't know if you can see me like nudging myself with my finger. You had that. You were like, maybe I'm going to leave the situation. But now you're doubling down. You're like, no, you know what? We're going to make a good thing out of this. We are going to dedicate ourselves to really pouring in the abundance and becoming potentially the leader. Maybe this is a promotion opportunity. Maybe this is a leveling up. Maybe this is a graduation. Maybe you're finally in the last year of your thesis or something you've been working toward for a long time. And even though your heart hasn't necessarily been in it, or there's been a lot of stress, or it's taken a toll on you, you're like, no, I'm doing it. I feel like, this is you speaking, my Mookaite crew. I feel that there's still hope here. I feel there's still a chance here. And I'm having a clear mind now. Where I once was torn, where I once was lost, I now am found. Another religious reference. Yeah, God is strong in this reading. And again, I'm not traditionally religious. And yet, these things come through. So, you sense a new beginning. Where you once were lost, you now are found. You've perhaps found your purpose or a reason to recommit. I'm hearing recommitting. And so you are. And it could bring you tremendous success. I see you in a place of leadership. I see you in a place of being recognized for all you do. I see you, potentially this is being dangled in front of you. Maybe a spouse is validating you for the first time. Maybe there's a promise of validation or a promise of some kind of bonus, raise, graduation. Maybe you're getting a cluster or a minor in school and it's like, oh, so many extra units, but you're like, I don't care because I'm going to be able to say I minored in psychology or whatever it is. You're just pushing yourself. Or maybe it's another job and it's giving you this opportunity for validation and recognition that maybe you've never had before. Maybe it was thwarted to you. We have this Queen of Pentacles here. This is before in the past, thwarted opportunity, but then we have the King of Pentacles up right now. So it's like, oh, maybe this was denied to me back then, but it's being, I'm sure going to get mine now. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is we're going to revisit that attitude and see if it's really the case. Because sometimes when the promise of validation is dangled in front of us, and I'm not even saying it's being dangled like, okay, I have dangling things near me, or at least I did earlier. Where did you go? We're gonna use the jade butterflies. So because the jade butterfly is the first thing I found, and it's the only, it's not the only one I had available, but the first one that came to my sight. These beautiful jade butterflies represent soulmates and relationships. So this is giving me a narcissist people pleaser vibe, and let me explain it. If something is being dangled in front of us, especially us who are people pleasers recovering, and people who will give endlessly of our cup. You saw me earlier pouring out of our cup. Jade butterflies usually speak to the hope of a soulmate connection, the hope of a love connection. Jade butterflies are used to manifest relationships and love. And I wonder if some dream that you've had for a long time, the star, is being kind of dangled in front of you, and it's giving you hope. It's giving you optimism, and it's giving you courage to keep on keeping on. Even in a situation where you might have left before, you might have taken action to leave. You're like, no, I'm recommitting. I'm going to keep on keeping on. But what if, and I just like to pose this as a question, what if what you're giving up to achieve this thing is not worth it? Let's just sit with that. And I'm not saying that it's not worth it, but I'm saying it's not what you truly want in your heart, and it's not as good as what you deserve, Mookaite Crew. Because let's take a look. If we continue down this trajectory here, what we're seeing is that there is a feeling of being trapped. So underneath this idea of I'm going to recommit and I'm going to use my sheer good energy and sunshine vibes and the sun tarot, like I'm saying, like that card in the deck, if you're the sun, you're like, I'm just going to bring myself to the equation, and just by virtue of me being in this equation, I'm going to change the equation and I'm going to make it bright and I'm going to make it light and I'm going to recommit, I'm going to give it my all, and Allah. Okay, there's another religious reference. Even if you do all that, there's a possibility that this is going to be tough for you mentally, that you are going to feel like it wasn't worth it in the end, and that you got stuck committing to something, that even though you had this burst of positive motivation to commit to this thing, in time, once the dust settles, you may feel like, shit, why did I do that? Why did I betray myself again? Why did I recommit to something again that I knew in my heart wasn't the thing? It's like you had the opportunity to follow your heart. There was a moment there, another niggle, another poke. And for those wondering, that's spelled Niggle, niggle, just to make sure my enunciation is on point. I could see how that could be a problematic pronunciation, and I'm hoping that I did it justice. But the Page of Cups is a signifier, a notice of an opportunity to take note of your emotions, to get back in touch with the water that moves us, our emotional inner ocean. And we see it's reversed here along with the devil. So it's like the devil speaks to commitment. It can speak to commitment in a positive fashion, but it also speaks to like obsession and stuckness. And we see here, it's like, oh, I had this opportunity to follow my heart, that inner nudge, but I ignored it. And then I got stuck in this situation now, which I kind of already had a knowing that it was coming because I'd already been agonizing about it before. Our Ten of Swords speaks to mind energy. So this had already been on your mind. You'd already known about it, but you chose to give it a fresh start. You gave it the benefit of the doubt. But what this is telling us is maybe it's not time to give this thing that you're working through the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's time to reorient. Maybe it's time to choose you and choose something way out of the ordinary, the way unexpected. Get out on your own. I'm hearing strike out on your own. Fuck the haters that's coming out of me right now. The naysayers can go and bleep themselves, perhaps. Like, perhaps it is time to listen to your heart when it's calling to you. Listen to your heart. There's nothing else you can do. I don't know where I'm going and I don't know why, but listen to your heart before you tell me goodbye, or something to that effect. And the thing we would be saying goodbye to in this moment would be your own self, your own autonomy, your own agency, your own willingness to choose what your heart wants. And if you're coming from my Bloodstone crew, I could very much see why, because there was also something about listening to the heart there too, and not being overwhelmed by the mind, not letting the mind dominate you, letting the heart make the choice. And this is kind of a different situation for different reasons. Maybe you let the mind take control, but it's the same essence, which is we've got to let the heart lead the way. And I don't mean your heart for people or your heart for giving, because the giving, going back to what we talked about with manipulation and narcissism and how it's easy for people pleasing to start to tip into this kind of toxic way sometimes, because me being a former people pleaser, recovering, you can manipulate people by giving to them, because you can then make them addicted to what you give. And we instead want to give when we want to give, when it comes out of the overflow, but we don't want to have to barter with our own self-worth and self-value. Like, please validate me, I'll give you this. Oh, please validate me, I'll give you this. Like, it's so easy to fall into, but we don't want to fall into that. And with this Six of Cups, it's all about community and all about giving emotional satisfaction to people, but it's in reverse. It's like our giving has become problematic for us, not for anybody else. It's become problematic because we're not giving to ourselves. We have lost touch with the innate, intrinsic purpose in our lives. And it might be time to find that again. I'm seeing the Hermit in reverse, which suggests a sort of loneliness. Now, the Hermit is a wonderful card. The Hermit is all about going inside and finding the wisdom that lies within, and then taking it out on a journey to deliver it to those who need it. And when it's in reverse, it can mean that we're feeling alone and we're feeling like we're isolated, but we're not finding the wisdom we're supposed to be finding. It's like we've self-isolated, or maybe we're struggling. We're so afraid of being alone, which is, let me tell you, another part of the bread and butter of the people pleaser starter pack. Fear of being alone. And it's something I can totally relate to, Mookaite Crew. It's no accident. This is one of my favorite stones of all time, by the way. I'm totally right here with you. I am one of you. I am with you. I speak from, oh man, a place of a lot of therapy. But Hermit, getting back to that, maybe we're like, I don't want to be alone. So I give and I give and I give and I commit and I bring the smile and I ignore my own inner niggling. And what even is my intuition? You know, like, I thought I was just supposed to help people. Like, I'm just out here trying to make people happy. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Well, no, there's nothing wrong with that, Mookaite Crew, until we start making ourselves unhappy. That's when it starts to get a little problematic. So let's pack this up and look at what you're becoming as a result of this momentous time in your life in which you are learning to choose yourself and not the validation of others. How do you like that? How you like me now? That's going to be your new motto song. How you like me now? Because on the other side of every people pleaser is a BAMF. I believe that's short. Well, I'm not going to say just in case because I don't know exactly what the rules are out in these streets with cursing. But on the other side of every people pleaser is somebody. Oh, we just saw some of the candle. But again, this is not a reflection of you. This is, well, your candle will go out. Your light will go out if you keep giving without giving back to yourself. But this is also because you're Mookaite and you're my third crew. You've got to remember, Mookaite, above all, please remember this, you deserve love, okay? So you are absolutely worthy and deserving of love, and you give and give to everybody else, but you need to give back to yourself. Underneath any people-pleasing tendencies is a badass who knows how to conquer, knows how to change the world, knows how to heal. See this orphan card, which kind of speaks to the hermit thing. The orphan card, like maybe you've always been alone. Maybe you've always felt like the odd man out, odd woman out, odd whatever, however you identify. If you've always felt out and alienated, you might have become a healer in that. Becoming a healer often comes as the result of stresses and turmoils, especially in the early ages. However, we need to train that. We need to make sure you're giving to yourself so that when you give, it's out of your overflow and not depleting you in the heart. Hear me, Mookaite Crew, please. Hear what I'm saying to you. Okay, so Spirit, what is my Mookaite Crew becoming as a result of realizing that they need to recognize what their inner knowing is saying and telling them to do and start following those inner nudges instead of recommitting to areas and believing that they can just bring the fire and bring the heat and bring the sunshine and make it all better through the sheer power of optimism, which you can, but only once you've reached your final form as a BAMF. Look it up. Ooh, you're getting 4. Oh my gosh, you're getting 5. Okay, so who is my Mookaite Crew becoming? The ring. Ooh. The vision. And look how similar those colors are. The ring looks like it's in the vision to me. And 2 white owls. The flame. Okay. So yeah, when I said BAMF, I meant BAMF. The sword. Oh my gosh. And the nectar. Oh, Mookaite Crew. Boy, is it your time to shine. Okay. Oh, oops. I am like, okay. I'm physically uncomfortable, which means that you might be too. And you best get used to it because you're going to make yourself uncomfortable and everybody else in this transition. But holy Phoenix rising fire, you are about to knock some shit out of the water. And as I'm just looking at these cards and the colors in them, sorry, I gotta move again. I'm getting really fidgety. And I'm wondering if you're getting fidgety too. Are you fidgeting over there? Because I'm fidgeting over here. Okay, so we're not going to go through the cards one by one. We don't need to. Although I do recommend you look into this deck. Kim Krantz, all about the archetypes. What is it called? Archetypes. Wouldn't you know it? So here's what's happening with you, my beautiful, beautiful Mookaite Crew. You're going to full BAMF mode. So and there's a serpent in here, serpent skin in this ring, which hails back to the orphan. You're not going to be the orphan for long. Those days are over. The days that are arriving now are turning on your inner flame, realizing your inner vision within your heart and activating it, using the ring of fire that lives within your solar plexus chakra, which is your gut, it's your power. It lives within your third eye chakra. It lives within your crown chakra. It's all over you. Your ability to manifest is off the charts at this point in time because you've reached this crossroads of, am I going to go heart or am I going to go head? Am I going to go with the inner nudge that I've been ignoring for all of my life? Or am I going to go with the patternings that I've been programmed into all my life? At this crossroads, This is where we develop the most power. When we make a choice at a point when it's easy to slip into an old habit. There's a psychological terminology for that, and maybe we'll get into it in a future reading. But the general gist is every time you're close to making an old decision from an old habit, if you can upend that and interrupt the neural pathways, and yes, if you didn't get it already, my major was psychology, you have additional power of rewiring the brain. I'm sure you've heard neurons that fire together, wire together. And this is a connected concept. But there's something powerful about being about to do something you've always done and then not doing it. And it's not just psychological, although the brain is the hardware of the spirit, I always say, or at least it's like the radio receiver of spirit at large. So they are birds of a feather, if you will. But what I'm trying to say is you're at the brink, Mookaite Crew, and I'm grabbing you by the shoulders and I'm shaking you spiritually in the most loving way, and I'm saying, time to interrupt the pattern, time to interrupt the pattern. Interrupt it. With the sword, we are cutting through some bullshit here. And that means we're cutting shit off, to put it to you, sweetly. The sword is all about making a swift cut and releasing the unnecessary, releasing the old ways, and changing shit up. In this guidebook, she specifically speaks to, Kim does, the author, that the cut is swift and fast. That is a kind cut. Not like beating around the bush or falling into an old pattern where we defer to someone else's opinion, like, well, I know I want this, but let me ask, my spouse, let me ask my wife, or let me ask my husband, or let me ask my partner, let me ask my babe, let me ask my boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. Or maybe it's not that. Maybe it's my parent. Let me ask my mom. Let me ask my other mom. Let me ask my dad. Let me ask my tia. Like, let me just get in there and, my boss, my director, my senior manager. Even though you have the authority, and it would do you well to make the decision on your own, make the cut, slice away, don't defer, don't question, maybe seek guidance from a therapist, counselor, mentor. But do not seek someone to handhold your destiny. Your destiny is in your heart. And if you want to live a life of meaning, which I know you do because you're a spiritually gifted individual with a ton of joy and power and generosity and healing potential within you, just all swirling around in a vortex. If you want to drink the nectar, which I believe Kim talks about this too, but I believe it's Amrit or Amrita, which is a yogic or Hindu belief that there is a nectar at the seat of the soul, which is made like in the pineal gland in the brain. And when you meditate enough, you release it. And it's like the sweet, sweet nectar of bliss. It's a chemical that actually puts you in like a permanent high. It's got huge spiritual, not ramifications is the wrong word. Huge spiritual implications, the nectar. But it doesn't have to just be the nectar. It could be the sweet, sweet satisfaction of knowing that, this is a quote from one of my favorite movies, August Osage County, when Julia Roberts grabs Meryl Streep and says, I'm running things now. Meryl Streep being a narcissistic, crazed matriarch, and Julia Roberts being the strong daughter who's always brought the laughter. Also, Violet, the sister in that movie, if you're familiar with the movie, I could also see her fitting into the Mookaite Crew, but I could definitely see Julia Roberts' character fitting into the Mookaite Crew, which is powerful, gets shit done. I also see that with my Bloodstone Crew. Makes shit happen, but doesn't get to run her own destiny because she's always too busy trying to pick up, rectify other people's shit, and just be the do-gooder. And I'm telling you now, no more do-gooder. Now it's do you. You do you. My mom always abbreviates it when she texts it to me in just 3 letters. You, no, that's a lie. 4 letters. You, D-O, you. You do you. And when she sends that to me, usually I've put up a gentle boundary. And she then recognizes that boundary and is like, you do you, girl. You do you, baby girl. And I'm like, all right, thank you, Ma. So from my mom and me to you, it's time for you to do you. Because pretty much every single healer I know went through people-pleasing / just getting along to get along, going along to get along phase. And then they just hit a moment just like you're just hitting right now. And they said, nope, no more. I'm getting in therapy. I'm getting out of this relationship potentially. And I'm not saying you should leave any relationship unless this is aligned for you. I'm leaving this job potentially. I'm not saying you should leave any job unless it's aligned for you. It might not involve leaving, but there is a plenty good chance that it does. You might also want to hear it doesn't involve leaving, so you can be like, oh, thank God, I don't have to leave. It might very well involve leaving, and it's time for you to contact someone you know and trust and respect, who does not hold any power over you and who you cannot manipulate by pleasing them somehow. Someone outside of the whole circle and the whole drama that you trust, and say, will you be my mentor? And will you guide me, awaken my inner flame? And that is my prayer for you, Mookaite Crew. So bring it in, come in close. We're closing it out with a prayer as I promised we would. This one goes out to spirit, to all the guides, ancestors, and beings that surround and protect my Mookaite Crew. It is time to awaken the inner warrior within them. Let's awaken their flame and their vision. Let's unleash the ring of power, that portal and vortex through all of their dreams can come true, through which all of their dreams come true. Let's put the sword into their hand, a katana of truth, to just cut through the bullshit and let them sip on the sweet nectar of life the way they so richly deserve. Because remember, Mookaite Crew, above all, you deserve love. So I'm lighting this incense stick on your behalf, and I'm praying for you to step into your power, to start to trust your intuition, and to practice trusting it every single day, to get yourself a mentor or a guide or somebody that can help guide you along this path and remind you that you are wonderful, you are incredible, and the best healing work you can ever do is when you're giving out of a full cup. So with all that, I'm lighting your incense stick, and I'm going to let it burn to finality. It is going to be joining my rainbow moonstone, my bloodstone. So together, all three of you have been covered in prayers and blessings and whatever you like to call it. Just know that the moment you're watching this, my heart is touching yours. You are so very worthy. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I'm the little reader. If you liked this reading, please like, subscribe, comment down below, and just know that you're the awesomest. You are all the awesomest. Not awesomest as in superior, just awesomest as in incredible in your own magnificent and magical way. It's been an honor and a gift to feel all of you tonight. So, sending all my love. Mwah! Go out there and do big things. You deserve it.